Bruce Arians that the Buccaneers coach could be barking up the wrong tree after he publicly criticized Tom Brady. And yesterday, Arians responded to Favre's comments by saying, quote, "Tom and I are fine. I don't really care what other people think. So it's just what he and I think." Huh. Shannon, what do you got? Do you believe Coach Arians?
I do. Skip, even though he's very harsh in his critique of his quarterbacks, he normally has a great relationship with his quarterbacks. Skip, that's what got him up out of Pittsburgh. The Rooneys thought he had too good of a relationship with Ben Roethlisberger.
True.
As a matter of
they played golf together.
They played golf together, Skip. As a matter of fact, we would put the business out there, but they got two houses down in Reynolds Plantation in Georgia, right across from one another. So he's always, BA has always had a great relationship with his quarterback. Most people think he has too good of a relationship with his quarterback, and sometimes it clouds his judgment. Obviously, that wasn't the case with Jameis Winston because he felt that Jameis was turning the ball over too much, and he couldn't win with Jameis. And I agree with Brett. Skip, and I said this on Monday, Skip, if you go into a new team and you're Tom Brady, obviously, B.A. has never coached anybody. He had Peyton, but Peyton was in his rookie season. Peyton, I mean, and so that's a different animal. I mean, you can talk to a rookie different than you talk to a 20-year vet, especially as accomplished as Tom Brady. He had Andrew Luck, but he had Andrew Luck in his rookie season.
Did.
Skip, that's a different animal. He had Ben early in his career, basically his rookie season. So when I'm saying with Tom, okay, Tom, how you like to be coached? Now, I heard, you know, that Coach Belichick would ride you in meetings. Is it okay if I have a harsh critique of you in public, or is that going to put you off? Is that going to, you know? Tom should have said, Coach, I don't mind you coaching me, but the harsh critiques and saying I did this and yada, 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 I would prefer you to save that behind closed doors. Okay, boom, boom. If Tom told him that and he did that, that's going to be a problem. If Tom did not lay the ground rules of how he expected things to go when things didn't go well, well, I don't really know. So now maybe moving forward, Skip, they've had a conversation, and he told B.A., bro, I don't really think that was necessary. But I don't think it's going to be a problem because I believe both men have come to an agreement, Skip. It's hard for me to believe that they have not had a conversation since Sunday afternoon about this because it's getting, Tom, the game has been played, and here we are still talking about what B.A. said after the game. That's not how Tom operates. Because there was nothing, once Coach Belichick was done, what was Coach Belichick, Skip? Remember his famous quote at the Kansas City? On to Cincinnati.
And Tom is on to Carolina.
Carolina. So, and so guess what? And they're probably going to ask Tom, I think his media session probably today, his Zoom session, they're going to ask him about that. Tom doesn't want to talk about what has been said. Tom wants you to talk about Carolina and what he's seen on tape and how they can get their first win of the season. So I believe they've hashed this out. I don't believe that we're here again. If Tom throws an interception or two, I don't believe we'll hear B.A. publicly criticizing.
The only way, to your point, that they are fine is if they cleared the air.
Yes.
And the only way they're really, quote unquote, fine is if Bruce Arians said, hey, I got a little out of control after the game. I was just so upset that we lost because I thought we had them. I loved the way we prepped for the game. I thought it was right on schedule, and I got a little carried away with the media after the game. The difference between Arians and Belichick, as we've talked about 1,000 times, Belichick would lambaste Tom Brady in film sessions or on the practice field. He never, ever, to my knowledge, did it one time publicly.
No, I've never heard it publicly either.
The only thing he dismissed was it wasn't exactly open. Hand.
And he did throw him up under the bus with Deflategate, though, Skip.
Okay, that's true. Okay, that's a whole nother issue. But the point here is when Belichick loses, he will always say the same thing. We got to play better and we got to coach better.
Correct.
Right? He says it every time. It's just cliche, but we got to play better. Everybody's got to play better. The quarterback's got to play better. The defense got to play better. And I have to coach better. Or we have to coach better. Bruce Arians never, ever, to my knowledge, says we have to coach better. It's always the quarterback's fault or the left tackle's fault or whose ever fault it might glaringly be in the game. And yet my problem with this remains there's scathingly honest right and there's scathingly honest wrong. And you want to talk about throwing somebody on the bus.
Yeah.
He threw him under the bus for the first interception up the seam to Mike Evans when Mike Evans stopped his route. And he said, just quote unquote after the game, that was definitely Tom's fault.
Right.
That Mike ran the right route because he needed to come across Tom's face.
Right.
And then the next day he corrects himself and says, no doubt that it was Mike Evans' fault. well, that requires an apology to Tom Brady.
Right.
Boy, I really was hard on you and I was wrong.
Skip, he could have got the same point across and say, we got to take better care of the football. He didn't have to definitively say Tom was wrong, Mike Evans was right. All you have to do, Skip, and that's what most coaches do. We got to do a better job of protecting the football. Okay, Tom knows he has to play better. Mike knows he ran the wrong route or he ran the correct route, but nobody's really at fault, Skip. But when you say, oh, Tom did this, but the question is, Skip, because Tom has been under Coach Belichick and he's used to harsh criticism behind closed doors is one thing. Yeah. Harsh criticism, Skip, my grandmother might whip me at home, but if she got on me at the church or the grocery store, hold on, Grady, in front of everybody.
Just humiliation.
Right. And I think that's what Tom is upset. Tom is upset about this now.
Right. So here's the first quote from Bruce Arians right after the game. He looked like Tom Brady in practice all the time, so it's kind of unusual to see that in a ball game because they didn't do anything we didn't prepare for.
Right.
Well, now you're taking all the blame off you and saying, what happened to my quarterback?
And you're taking a shot at your quarterback, saying your quarterback didn't look in the game like he looks in practice. Like, Skip, you do realize, Coach BA, in practice, they're not hitting. Tom has to understand there's a snap count, there's a clock in Tom's head that he knows he's got to get the ball out of his hand. Okay,
so to me, Tom Brady was the biggest acquisition in free agency history. Mm-hmm. You can argue what he's got left at 43, but he's the GOAT. Mm-hmm. They got the GOAT.
Right.
So you have to have some respect for that acquisition.
Right.
And the degree of difficulty that the pandemic presented, the greatest acquisition to sort of ingratiate himself into the new offense,
right.
To figure it out, to get everybody comfortable with how everybody's supposed to be.
Right.
You had virtual OTAs. I know he was going to the park to throw the ball around, but then you had no preseason games, and the league threw you under the bus because you got thrown to the Wolves in New Orleans for game number 1. It's the team you picked to win the NFC. Mm-hmm. I just think it's inarguable. It's the best defense he's going to see, and it was game 1 with little to no preparation. There was no battle preparation with your new teammates.
Right.
You're hearing different calls from a new coordinator and new terminology in your head. Well, the odds are stacked way against you. And yet, despite all that, against by far the best secondary he's going to see, I thought he played pretty well. You thought he played lousy.
I thought he played okay. I think the thing is, Skip, is that when Tom Brady has been so great, you forget, Skip, that he's human. And he can make a mistake. And that's what B.A. is alluding to, Skip. B.A. basically said, I ain't seen nothing. What he was doing in the game, I saw none of that in practice. Okay. So I obviously thought he was just going to correlate. But come on, he's Tom Brady. Okay. He's human.
So he made one really huge mistake.